Hey everyone, my name is Michael Tabaradi, and today I'm going to give a presentation on how to discover, develop and deliver a profitable signature program as an online expert. Now, I want you guys to raise your hand if you would like more success in your life. And I want you to raise your hand again if you truly believe that you can provide value towards your audience. Fantastic, because we need to have that self-belief. Now, I want you to understand this. You have a responsibility to do three main things in your life. The first thing is to be honest to yourself and to others. Because if you don't have that honesty, it's going to be very difficult to you to move forward within this business space. The second thing is to make sure that you're useful. So you need to find ways to be as useful as possible for your audience, again, because that creates the attraction marketing that gets you the market. And the third thing is to be the best you that you can be. It wouldn't be good of me if I didn't say that, especially as we're in the Best You Expo. Now, I was coaching people who wanted to actually build their brand, and here are some examples. We've got Craig here who had a business, he was focusing on fashion, and I helped him with his marketing funnels in order for him to get more clients. There was also, I've forgotten her name, Y Santos. Oh my gosh, I've been coaching her for a while, that's really bad. There's Y Santos as well, who helps women with trauma, and she helps empower them to really overcome the things that they've overcome. Then I've also had Venetia Spence. She's somewhere around here, but really she has a reggae gospel blog, which is really interesting, and she's trying to create a niche market within the industry within the UK. And we also have my friend Emanuela. So she's a doctor and she has something called the Cooking Medic, and what she does is she creates African cuisines and helps them with their cooking day to day. Now, every single testimonial didn't just work out for themselves, but they worked out because they interacted with me as an individual. Now, I've done the same thing myself. I've had coaching and help and training from all these different big names, such as Robert Kiyosaki, Peng Joon, Andy Harrington, Jerry Roberts, and they've helped me with many different things. And the result has been the fact, let me move this away because it's a bit sharp. Yep, good. The result has been the fact that I have been able to produce my own assets. I have 3 published books that I self-published myself. I have a podcast, I have my own courses and membership sites, but that's because I got the education from the get-go. It's really important to make sure that you can create these assets, free and paid, so you can position yourself as an expert. It's about positioning at the end of the day. Now, the results have resulted in me having a system that I know can allow me to make money. It allows me to understand how I can help other people scale their business and position themselves as experts. And that's invaluable information that nobody can take away from me. Now, here's the problem. There are roughly about 6 million different businesses within the UK, and 50% of them don't survive after the next 5 years. Why is this? Now, it's mainly because of these 4 things. 1, they don't really understand what product or service they're actually offering. 2, they don't really understand their target audience and how to advertise to them. And really and truly, they don't invest in help from the get-go. So you want to make sure you position yourself to not be in that situation. And this is why I decided to do this training today. Now, there are 2 types of people. There are people who are just going to hop around and not really engage or take action for themselves. And there are also people who are going to be committed with my help or not with my help at all, and they're going to take the right sort of action. Thank you very much. They're going to take the right sort of action. So it's about making sure that you're committed, you're writing notes, and you know what you're going to do to take away and start your business successfully, okay? Obviously, I have to put this in here. My results are not typical. Now, who am I? I'm a business and leadership consultant that helps personal brands get set up online. Fantastic. Now, this training is not just about step by step, but it's also about the strategies and concepts that you can use for your business. This training is for anyone who's highly ambitious, who understands that online is definitely the way to go. There's so much evidence and information around this to suggest that, and knows they've got what it takes to get to the next step. Now, this is what I'm going to be covering. There's going to be a lot of content, so please either record, take notes, take pictures, so you can get this information for yourself. It's really important. Part 1 is about discovering your superpowers, okay? Part 2 is about finding a profitable niche. Part 3 is about creating certainty with your customers. Part 4 is about creating killer content. Part 5 is about creating the right sort of amazing offer. Part 6 is also about making sure you develop your signature program. And part 7 is about creating the right sort of funnels that you can draw people in order to convert them into customers, okay? Now let's get started. The first section is on discover. Now, part 1, Own your superpowers for providing high value for those who genuinely need it. What does that even mean? What it really means is understanding you as an individual. Before I set out on this journey, I was really big on personal development, professional development, mindset, and all of that kind of stuff. But you really need to get accustomed to who you are as an individual before you actually set out on this journey. Because when you're actually conducting business, it's about making sure you do something you're passionate about, that you have a deep interest in, but as well as has an expertise in. So you need to figure out what that is for you. For me, it's about making people build their businesses around their personal brands. So here's a perfect example. Sandra here has a love and interest in nutrition, and she also has a background in project management. So she's thinking of going down a health coaching niche. It could be as simple as that. So think about what it is for you that works for you as an individual. So part one is very easy. Does that make sense, everyone? Fantastic. So we got part two. Find a profitable niche that is dying for you to start your business. And really that means is create or find a market that is attracted to what you're doing. You want to create a pull. You don't want to be pushing all the time. Okay? Now, a lot of people get really, really confused and overwhelmed when it comes to business. And that's really because they don't focus on one core niche aspect. Focus on that one core problem, one specific problem that you think your customer wants solved. Okay? It's very simple to do. Now, there's three main big mistakes that many people have when they start their online business. But the good thing is, it's very easy to overcome these different things, okay? So it's about making sure that you focus on getting results. Now, I'm going to be talking about how to find a profitable niche, but I'm going to be giving you some examples so you can understand it a bit more. It's not about going, aha, I found you because you feel really good about this thing or you love this thing. It's about making sure you do the right steps and research before you get into it, okay? So I'll give you an example. Making money online is a huge niche, okay? But if you break up that niche, you've also got online business development. And within online business development, you have digital publishing, so helping people create information products, courses, X, Y, and Z. You can see how that's niche. Now, if you think about those people within that market, you have entrepreneurs. But there are different types of entrepreneurs. You have property investors, you have traders, and you have people like me doing what I'm doing. But if you split that up, you have personal brands. Maybe you want to focus on personal brands. But maybe more specifically, you want to focus on personal brands that want to get out of their 9 to 5. So if we put that together, you have someone who's focusing on digital publishing, but helping those people who want to be personal brands getting out of their 9 to 5. So it's really about understanding your core customer. And a great way to do this is using a process called empathy mapping. If you actually check that out on Google, check out empathy mapping. It's a great way to really establish what your customer actually looks like. And then you can start building Facebook ads and everything else. Now, there are loads of different free resources you can use. The most freest and easiest for most people to use is Google. Okay, Google is fantastic. And I use Google to really understand what my customer is trying to get solved. You want to understand what their core problems are. So you can also use Amazon as well. And the reason why I talk about Amazon is because there are loads of people who create books. And within those books, there are content pages. And those content pages really highlight what problems that are trying to be solved for that specific niche audience. So use what is out there specifically for you. And of course, we have Facebook groups and we have Udemy, where you already know that's working, okay? So focus on markets that actually work. Big mistake number 2, not knowing your audience. Again, who's done Facebook advertising before? Okay, a few people. Now, targeting can be a huge issue. You can't just randomly just select something and then throw, your ads into the space. It's going to be difficult for you to actually track to see whether that works or not. So you need to make sure you understand your target audience. It's so key. Don't want to be like this ape over here, all confused in that, okay? So do empathy mapping, understand the core problems, then you can start thinking about developing your landing page and stuff in order for you to attract those people into your industry. Does that make sense? Understand your audience and then build your marketing messages around that so you can start developing this stuff. Don't start developing this stuff without understanding your audience first. Big mistake number 3, people don't model, people don't test. They just dive straight into it thinking that it's just gonna work out because they've got this positive psychology behind it. It's good to have that, but you need to be practical as well. Okay, this looks attractive, but it may not be you from the get-go, okay? Start off by understanding your industry. I'm an avid reader, I love reading. For the past 4 or 5 years, I've read over 250 books on psychology, personal health, on marketing, just so I can get educated. Then watch YouTube. YouTube is a free resource, okay? There's so many people talking about how you can do this stuff from a theoretical point of view and from a process point of view as well. And then attend events like this, just like you have today, okay? And start educating people. Talk to your friends about it. Talk to people who may be interested in this stuff, because it starts to build that confidence and you start to get that experience. Then you can go on and do coaching, or maybe get people for free, where you can start helping them with what they're doing. Build the testimonial base and attract the right sort of audience, so then you can start doing your information products. Does that make sense? There's a process behind it, so think about it practically. Part 3, create certainty by letting your audience tell you what they want, okay? That's the most important thing. It's not about you, it's about your audience. This is what I mean, okay? This, if done well, will help you to create your program structure and create the right sort of messaging for your business. Now, the biggest secret is that your program's already out there, and it's called modeling. It's called looking at your competitors, understanding what they're doing, and also understanding what your customer is about as well. We spoke about this already. Don't go, aha, I found you, because if you do that, you'll get all excited, start creating something, and then get disappointed that it's not working. I've done that before, it hurts. Trust me, it really hurts. Okay? Start doing the research using these platforms, because it will help you position you in terms of understanding what it is that you need to do. Okay? Now, the best resource, well, before I even get to that, what do you think is better? Do you think going, aha, I found you is good? Or do you think doing the right research and understanding the core problems before you start executing is a better option? A or B? Did I hear A or B? B, of course. I just want to make sure you guys are awake. Fantastic. Of course, it's B, okay? Now, if you do this, what ends up happening is that you get lower sales, poor reviews, low retention, and things just get more expensive, okay? You don't want to be doing that. You want to move yourself away from that stuff. So I'm giving you the metrics of what it could look like if you were to do this route. Now, if you were to go down the route that actually works, then you're going to get more sales, better reviews, higher retention, X, Y, and Z. Does that make sense? Fantastic, fantastic. So how do we achieve this? I personally like to use Quora, okay? Quora is a great resource. It's a question and answer website where you can type in a niche topic or word or whatever it is and check out all the different questions that people have asked over a year, over months, or whatever it is. So I'd break it up, categorize it, and look at the key themes and then say, aha, this is exactly what my audience is looking to get solved, okay? So do it strategically. Now, you never really understand the person until you consider things from his point of view. I love that, because it's about perspective, it's about context, okay? So what you need to do, taken out from this book, you need to think to yourself, what is the one thing that X wants solved, okay? So if there was one thing you wanted to know about weight loss, what would it be? You would ask your customers or clients or your audience this question, okay? Ask them that question and you'll get different answers and responses relating to your industry. If you don't know where to ask people this question, if you don't have an email list, ask people on WhatsApp, ask people on Instagram, ask people at this event. Just ask people so you get those responses, and record that information so you get an idea of what the themes are for your industry. So who likes that? Who likes the discover bit? Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? Fantastic. Let's go on to develop. Now, create killer content that your audience wants to see daily. Do you know, I'm making all these big claims, it's amazing. But at the end of the day, it's about you. It's about what you can do for yourself, okay? Now, it's about making sure that you know what your competitors are doing, okay? So for example, we've got Tony Robbins here. Tony Robbins has got a wealth of information, and there are other people like Tony Robbins as well. But if you check out Tony Robbins' Facebook page and you go to info and ads on his Facebook page, you can see what sort of funnels and offers that he's offering, okay? That may give you some ideas of what you need to do. Maybe it's a thing where you check out all these different people, create a table and list, and then again, you can pick up those themes. You see what I'm doing here? I'm observing and picking up themes so I know what I need to do for myself. Then you also need to make sure that you're producing content that attracts the right people. So people are going to search for your content, but you want to make sure you're directing it the right way. So brainstorm that content, check Google AdWords, and actually go through the keyword planner tool and see what people are actually searching for. Actually check other stuff like, Amazon and Facebook and all those things to see what key things that people are saying. And then create a schedule where you can post as often as you can, 2 to 5 times a week minimum, regardless of what you're doing, whether that's an article. She's looking at me because I've held her accountable. It's good. 2 to 5 times a week at least in terms of producing your content, whether that's an article, YouTube, or podcast, or all 3 of them, if you can do that as well. And then decide what platforms make sense to you. Now, if you can, it would be great to do video, okay? Video is great because you can create pillar content. With video, you can transform that into a podcast, and then you can also type that up or get someone else to type that up. But if it's just you, then of course you're going to be grinding a bit through the beginning, okay? So make sure you do those things. Key tips when it comes to creating your content: think about these sort of topics. People like how-tos, okay? People like comparisons and top tips. People like opinions, and people also like documenting their journey. Gary Vee is a fantastic example. Who knows Gary Vee here? Exactly, everyone knows. So, part 5, I'm going through this very, very quickly, but I hope you're getting the content that you need. Make sure that you create an amazing offer and give it away for free. Ooh. Now, what do I mean by an amazing offer? I basically mean educate people so much where they're like, why are you giving this away for free? It should almost pain you that you're giving this away for free, because at the end of the day, people need to have a reason to draw into you. That's what attraction marketing does. And the reason why we do all of that content beforehand, whether it's free or paid, depending on your strategy, is to create that like, know, and trust factor that you've all probably heard of before, okay? So here's an example. If I'm creating this article, whatever it is, or YouTube video, I'm gonna make sure I'm just using my smartphone, okay? I'm not doing anything complicated. I wanna make sure I've got good lighting and good sound. I'm gonna host it up there. Then I'm gonna create this landing page using some of these things highlighted here, whether it's lead pages, Kyvio, ClickFunnels, OptimizePress, even MailChimp if you have to, or even WordPress, okay? I don't want there to be an excuse if you're trying to set it up yourself. There are so many options out there. You don't have to use ClickFunnels. Everyone talks about ClickFunnels. We can use what works for you. Make sense? Fantastic. And this is an example sequence that you can set up. I had a Facebook ad here, which was drawing people in, really talking about my story and trying to connect to the right sorts of people. There are a number of people who drew into my landing page and signed up for my offer. They got a series of emails, and obviously I had my thank you page instructing them of what they need to do. And then through the series of emails, then they can sign up to my offer at the end. Make it as simple as possible. Don't make it complicated, make it simple, okay? Are we lost or are we understood? I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. Fantastic. Part 6, develop your signature program that customers fall in love with. Now, what usually happens is when we get started in this space, we usually start with coaching or services, which is a really good thing to do because it gets you really confident about what you're doing, okay? But at the same time, what happens is that you start to plateau, okay? There's only so many consultations that you can do for a moment of time. So it makes sense if you can transfer that knowledge into some digital space, okay? Whether it's via group coaching, online, X, Y, and Z. The point being made, digitalize what you know and put it on the online space. You don't want to be focusing on this too much. You want to be moving towards this, okay? Now, there's a statistic here that says the e-learning industry will be worth 325 billion, that's billion, by 2025. It's a scalable model, it's mobile, it's evergreen, it makes sense. And you have an opportunity to get a piece of that pie if you choose it, okay? Now, people prefer to watch videos. I know I like watching videos. So if you, again, you can tap into that, make sure you do, especially if you're a personal brand that can help people with value. Fantastic. We're on the last section, which is deliver. Now create a seamless funnel that magnetically generates leads. And what I want to ask you to do is to take pictures because there's some text here. And I want to give you a template that you can use for your own self if you're creating your own sort of funnels, okay? Now, if you're thinking about developing some sort of email list, yeah, it's about making sure you get quality leads. But it's also about making sure that you can create the right sort of sequence as well. And most people trip up on making sure that they can send out the right sort of emails. So let's say, for example, you've got an ad, okay, people have opted in, they've got their offer. This is an example sequence you can use in order to keep them going, okay? And this would be automated. Make sense? Fantastic. Does it make sense? Good, good. Next, when creating your Facebook ads, you need to decide what makes sense for your industry. Are you doing video engagement ads? Are you doing lead form ads? Are you doing something else? You need to think about what your main goal is, okay? For me personally, I've done a lot of video engagement ads and I've done a lot of lead form ads. That has worked for me personally because with the video, it creates that connection. It creates that sort of ability of people to see that I'm an expert and I'm focused on doing the things I'm doing. But the lead forms, Facebook is smart enough to know that those people are actually going to opt in to my offer. So think about what makes sense for you in terms of your goal. Now, in terms of other marketing options, it doesn't have to be Facebook. It could be something like this, what I'm doing right now. This is marketing. It can also be where you generate content continuously online. You have to decide what makes sense for you and what fits in with your schedule. But like I said at the beginning, check to see what your competitors are doing and then think about what makes sense for your market. Does that make sense? Fantastic. Okay, so this is basically my presentation on what needs to be done in order for you to be a profitable personal brand and online expert.